Hi, friends. My name is Beth Pancoast. I'm the Director of Youth Ministries at Church of the Master United Methodist, and we are so glad that you're taking time to be trained on our Safe Sanctuary policy. Whether this is a new thing for you and you're going to be a new volunteer with our children, our youth, and or our older and vulnerable adult programming at Church of the Master, we thank you. Or maybe you are someone who has been a volunteer for us for years and it's just time to renew your training. And we thank you for taking your time um, and helping us make sure that all of our volunteers have been trained appropriately on our Safe Sanctuary policy. At the end of each session, you will find a link in the comments section under the video that will take you to a quick quiz about the session that you just watched. We're just asking everyone to watch a section and then take the quiz and then move to the next section. Those answers will come to me, and that way I know that you have trained either for the first time or just to update your Safe Sanctuary policy training with Church of the Master. It is good for 2 years, and so when the time comes to renew again, or to renew for the first time, we will walk you through that and what that looks like in a couple years. Well, let's get started. So back in 1996, the General Conference of the United Methodist Church adopted a resolution aimed at eliminating any potential for child sexual abuse in the church. Jesus said, "Whoever welcomes a child welcomes me." And that's from Matthew chapter 8, verse 5. Children are our present and our future, our hope, our teachers, our inspiration. They are full participants in the life of the church and in the realm of God. The purpose of the Safe Sanctuary policy is to demonstrate our total and unwavering commitment to the physical, emotional, and spiritual safety of all of our children, youth, and older or vulnerable adults. We have a covenant as part of our policy that says Church of the Master United Methodist hereby pledges to conduct the ministry of Jesus Christ in ways that assure the physical and emotional safety and spiritual growth for all of our children, youth, and older or vulnerable adults, as well as all the people who work within the programs and ministries. We will follow reasonable safety measures when selecting and recruiting workers. We will implement appropriate operational procedures in all areas of programming and care. We will have a clearly defined procedure and methods for reporting a suspected incident of abuse that conforms to the requirements of state law. And we will be prepared to respond to media inquiries if an incident occurs. In the covenant with all United Methodist congregations, we adopt this policy for the prevention of abuse as it relates to children, youth, and vulnerable or older adults in our church. In order to fulfill this covenant, the Director of Youth Ministries, in conjunction with the Staff Parish Relations Committee, is authorized to create and implement and thereafter maintain such guidelines, procedures, and forms as the committee deems necessary to carry out the intention of this policy. We adopt this policy in accordance with the statement as we as a congregation make at each baptism, that we will nurture children and youth in the Christian faith and life and include them in our care. With this policy, we renew our baptismal pledge to live according to the example of Christ and surround children and youth with a community of love and forgiveness, that they may grow in their trust of God and thus be confirmed and strengthened in a way that leads to life eternal. Activities that are covered by these policies, all activities held within Church of the Master that relate to children, youth, and or older and vulnerable adults. Summer mission trip leaders, districts or conference youth events. Adults in the building on a regular basis with children or youth are in the building. For example, if on a Sunday night, the youth are downstairs in the fellowship hall having youth group, and someone comes in regularly on Sunday nights to work in the kitchen right by where we're having youth. Although they're not part of the program, we believe that anyone who's at the church on a regular basis right near where we're doing a youth program or a children's program should also need to be trained in our policies. Also, groups from organizations other than Church of the Master who are using the church's facilities, like our Scouts BSA. We have Troop troops and a pack of Cub Scouts, and all of their leaders are trained through the scouting agencies. But we are also asking them to take a class on the particulars of Church of the Master's policies that would pertain to them being in our building and having scouts in there weekly. Inclusiveness and hospitality for our children and youth. Jesus said, "Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me." Children and youth are full participants in the life of the church and in the realm of God. True hospitality means that we are to be inclusive of all of our children and youth. And so therefore we have some considerations for our LGBTQ children and youth. First, make no assumptions about a young person's sexual orientation or identity. Educate yourself, and we will do our best to train you on the proper use of terminology. Be intentional about creating a safe environment and culture by awareness and training around homophobic language and bullying. And create a policy or behavior covenant that all are aware of and commit to uphold. We want all of our children and youth to feel like Church of the Master is a place for them, regardless of their sexual orientation or identity. This goes beyond just our LGBTQ family. It goes along with those who are differently abled in our children and youth programs and the accommodations that we might need to make for them as well. It's all about the hospitality and creating a space for all children and all youth to be able to feel the love of God and come to an understanding of what that means in their life.